Today, we are going to talk about financial abundance because I believe you are all destined for financial abundance. And the reason it's so important for you to become financially free and abundant is because you care. And the more you have, the more you will give. And that is so important. We need more people that have big hearts to make more, to make a bigger difference. Money is just a tool. Money is not a definition. Money does not make you more important, but it does give you an opportunity to step more into your soul's purpose. It does give you an opportunity to give more. Money is a tool. Money is a currency. And I'm going to help rewire that mind frame to stop ending self-sabotage. So today is about ending self-sabotage when it comes to your financial freedom. Now, for a lot of you, you're feeling like, I don't self-sabotage. I just don't have it. I want it and I do the work and it never comes. And I'm here to call bluff on you. I'm actually here to be very real with you and tell you that you are self-sabotaging. And that you actually, this money discussion is not about who you know, how much you know, right? What you're doing and living in. It's actually that you're self-sabotaging. And the reason I'm getting into this topic is because I believe in my life, in my personal life, it was the one piece that was actually holding me back. I was blocking myself from creating financial freedom for a long time. Now, for me, I grew up with a huge money story. And today we're going to tap into what your money story was or is. And the money story for me was money's very hard to get. Money's very hard to get. Another story that was kind of a roundabout story that was happening in my life was that you cannot be a successful businesswoman and a good mom. So a successful businesswoman, in my mind, made good money, was making a big impact on the world, which when you make a big impact on the world, the money comes. It's just that simple, you guys. And I'm going to teach you how to do that too. So I had that story too, which was affecting my money freedom and my money financial freedom and my money goals, financial goals. So these were two big stories. The other story was that it was a really deep hidden story, is that you can't be spiritual and have a lot of money. Now that one was a really deep one that I ended up plucking at the last hour, which made all the difference. So I don't know if some of you have these, and we'll unlayer those in a minute, but I had to get into that ruthlessness of what is that subconscious money story I have. And those were my big three. And I had to rewire because I believed that if I acquired money, it would cause pain. It would cause pain spiritually because all I wanted to do was be as spiritually grounded in myself, and I wanted to be giving, and I wanted to come from that authentic place. So if I was associating money with being the opposite of it, of greed, of non-spirituality, then I was definitely going to sabotage. If I believed I was not going to be a good mom and a successful businesswoman at the same time, I was definitely going to sabotage being a successful businesswoman because being a mom was first and foremost in my mind. Do you get how this works? So you are driven by two things, and that's pain and pleasure. Pain being actually one of the biggest. So we need to do certain work on this because we are going to link pain to the thing we want to change, which is our financial freedom. So I need you to grab your journals, and you're going to write down all the pain you experience right now because you don't have financial abundance. Now I need you to get into the core of this. What is all that pain that's happening? Do you feel, and I'm going to give you some examples because I need you to get into the emotion of it. I know this doesn't feel fun, but trust me, this is actually so important for your vital change. You've got to link pain to the thing that you are lacking, the thing you want to change. So for some people, and for me at the time, it was, if my parents were sick and someone needed me, I didn't have money to fly up or to drive and pay for gas to go see them. That can be painful. You know there's somebody you're meant to really help, but you just don't have that extra money to help them. You want to send your kids to a certain school. You're living in an area or a neighborhood that you know is not in your mental blueprint of where you know you want to be with yourself and your family, the type of people you want to be around. That's painful. You have a dream in your heart and you're like, I don't have the resources to implement them. That's painful. I want you to really go into your core right now Take 2 minutes, stop the tape right now, and start writing down for 2 minutes. I'll see you in just a minute. All right, so now, what is your money story? This is number 2. What is your money story? What do you associate with money? So I need you to pause this, and I want you to really think about what when you think of money, what comes up? What is that money story that comes up right now for you when you think of money? And what do you associate with it? Pause this. I'm going to give you just like 30 to 60 seconds. That's all I want you to do. Just start writing down really quick. What do you associate with money? What do you get when you have money? What happens with money? What's your money story? Okay, pause right now. All right, you are back. You're back. So some things that people associate, because I've done this in individual coaching with people, is freedom. So when they think of money, they think of freedom. They think of time with loved ones. They think of less balls to juggle, right? Less stress. So usually most of you have associated pleasure with having money, right? So you might be asking yourself, if I associate pleasure with having money, why don't I have it? And I'm going to go back and explain to you why you're not having it, because you see, we haven't linked up the deep pain and we haven't really expanded on the pleasure. All right. So now number 3. So this is just really getting you into your insights. What is your money story? Like if you had money, what does that mean for you? A lot of you, it's something positive, right? So why don't you have it if you really think it's positive? It's because you have actually associated more pain with accumulating money. And we're going to get into that, okay? Now bear with me. I know this sounds crazy, but it's actually true. It's actually true. This is such a deep subconscious layer within you. So number 3. What do you remember was shared about money growing up? What was that story that was shared? And it might have been through words, or it might have been implicit, like just an energy. So for example, for me, I always remember my dad, always a car breaking down, and my dad was always the mechanic for the car, even though he wasn't a mechanic, because he didn't want to spend his money on a mechanic. So he would be under the car, we'd be late for wherever we were going. Usually it was like a trip. And it would always be this swearing, which he never really did, but it was just that energy, right? I was like, oh my gosh, we don't have a lot of money. He can't just like take this into the mechanic. So we are stuck here. We're delaying our experience, our time with family. And he's upset and he's under the car, like crumped under the car, like swearing and working with tools to try to save a buck. And I do always remember the money story of you have to work really hard to have money. And also the money story that was shared with me when I was first married is that this is the richest you will ever be. And I was broke as a joke. I was 22 years old, married, driving a clunker. Everything I owned was in the car. And my dad told me, this is the richest you will ever be. Now, whenever my dad talked, I actually just believed it. He was the wise genius in the room. So that was deep money stories for me. So now pause this tape and write down what is the money story that you felt or heard growing up. So take 90 seconds to write all of this down. Write them in sentences, okay? Write them in sentences because you'll see we'll go back to this in just a minute. Go ahead and put pause and do this assignment. All right. Usually, so number 3, there was pain associated, right? Like money doesn't grow on trees, it's just some people have it, some people don't. We're the type of people who don't, whatever the story was, right? This is why we actually can start making money and then we stop, we go back and forth, is because of this subconscious blueprint. So you might be living now and have associated goodness with money. You're like, money gives me freedom. Money gives me more time with my family, less stress, living out my passion. And if you feel that now, but you realize your growing up money story was kind of associated with something kind of negative, then that subconscious programming that happened when you're a little kid is the one that's keeping you back. It's the one that's holding you back from your financial freedom. Now what we need to do is we need to associate pain to not having this, right? We need to go really deep into the associating of pain. We need to eradicate these stories that are going on in our minds. So there's different methods of doing this. One would be to associate pain and then associate pleasure. So we're like, you would take your pain of saying, it's just not right for us people to have this kind of money. We didn't grow up with money. You're not going to have money. This is the richest you're ever going to be. And now what we're going to do is rechange the story to that. So now this is where the work goes in, okay? So now we're going to write down what you would do. How would your life be different if you had financial, like massive abundance? What would be happening? So this is something, we're associating pleasure now with this pain. So what would you be doing? What would you be experiencing, having, feeling if you had financial success? I want you to go into dreamland. Don't hold back and really write out what that would be. I want you to give yourself 90 seconds to write this down. I want you to go into dreamland and really write all of this down. Okay, go ahead and pause, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, turning me back on. I know this is a lot of writing. This is a lot of deep stuff. Now, this is what it takes. This is what I'm just here to remind you. This is what it takes. Now, what I want you to do is take all of those old paradigms. Remember all those money stories from your past. What we're going to do is we're actually going to do something kind of fun. We're either going to laugh at it, create some ridicule to it, or just change the sentence of it. For example, let me give you an example of this. So, yep, money doesn't grow on trees. It grows from my intention and my focus and my effort. See how that you would do that? So if you grew up with your parents saying money just doesn't grow on trees, which we all think, well, it doesn't, so I can't have it because it's not easy to get. Now you're going to rewrite those stories, all of them that you wrote down. You're going to rewrite them. So you're going to say, and you're going to either make it funny and start laughing about it, or you're going to just rewrite this phrase like, yep, money doesn't grow on trees. You're absolutely right. It doesn't grow on trees. But it does grow from my intention, my focus, and my effort. So what you're basically doing is taking away the power of that sentence by making it kind of funny, ridiculous, kind of rewording it, okay? So go ahead and pause me right now, and you're going to do this. Give yourself 90 seconds to do this. All right, we are back. So now what you're going to do is reread this. Now, I reread these a lot when I was first doing this work, so I reread them all the time because I needed to take away the power. I needed to see how ridiculous they sounded. I was never going to be more wealthy than I was when I was first married. I'm going to live in all my belongings are going to be in a car. I think that's actually not a true statement. Okay. So now we did a lot of unlayering, which is really, really important. You've done the bulk of the work. And now we're going beyond belief, so that we can really change our money story, the self-sabotage that's happening within our financial freedom. So number one is having an attitude of gratitude. Now, a lot of you are walking around thinking that you don't have anything, that you're destitute, that you are a financial ruin, that you'll never have financial freedom. And the truth is, you're already wealthy. So you need to understand that and be grateful for the computer that you're watching me on, thankful for the clothes you're wearing, the food you get to eat, and you really get into that feeling. You see, energy is everything. What you focus on expands. If you're walking around saying, I don't have money, I don't make enough money, the universe is like, your wishes might command. You're right. You don't make a lot of money. Let me keep that process going for you. Do you see how this works? This is so, so important to really step into this gratitude every single day. And you get to own your energy. You get to own your thoughts. Most of our downfall is starting in our thoughts. It's not our experiences. It's not even our reality. It's our thoughts. So once you grab a hold of that, massive, massive things are going to happen for you. So every day, getting into an attitude of gratitude every single day, focusing on what you want to see, what you're grateful for in this moment. Your home, your roof over your head, you have a couch, you have a TV, you have food, gratitude. All right, number two, connect ourselves mentally to having money. Okay? Proclaim your truth. Now, I learned this from Tony Robbins, and that was I went out, whether I was driving, whenever I was driving from A to B, I would scream this because I was alone in my car, and I could. If I was out running in nature, I would do this. If I was hiking, and you can do this at a park, you don't have to necessarily scream it, but say it at the park. And I would say this over and over. I'm increasing in abundance, success, and love, and I'm inspiring others, my children, and myself to do the same. You see, I needed to make these words work for me. I wanted to inspire my children. I knew that was my truth. I wanted to inspire myself because I needed that, and I wanted to inspire others. So what I'm doing today is really hopefully inspiring you guys that this is possible for you too. So I'm increasing in success, abundance, and love every single day, and I'm inspiring myself and others to do the same. Another one I would say, and it kind of goes like this, would be money is increasing every single day, whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing. Money is increasing every single day, whether I'm working, sleeping, and playing. And then the other affirmation I had to take on, because I had a spiritual blueprint, remember I was telling you about that, is that I had to say, and God wants me to be wealthy. It's my divine right. I would have to say that. God is helping me. God wants to help me with this because it's my divine right. When I have more, I'll do more. When I have more, I'll do more. I had to really, really play with those, and I would talk them like this, walking, screaming, driving. And this is what you really get into that mental state, because when you do that, it's really snapping the brain and going, oh, she believes this. She believes this. At first you're not. But as you do this, it kind of changes it. You start to see it. You start to visualize it, okay? So I would do this every single day, and I need to go back and start doing it a little bit more. Number 3, get some role models. Yes, get some role models. So you're going to watch YouTubes on financial freedom. You're going to get a mentor who has financial freedom. What you're not going to do is talk to anybody who does not have financial freedom about having financial freedom, because they will sabotage you. All right? Do not associate with those people about your goals about financial freedom, because they do not know, because they are not there. So get a role model that's there. It might be a free YouTube role model. That's how I did it for the longest time. So you can get the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, Napoleon's Think and Grow Rich. These are books that I've read multiple times, and you should start reading them if you haven't read them, or read them again if you're finding yourself kind of self-sabotaging, okay? These can be mentors. It can be a physical mentor. It can be a book, a YouTube, but get a mentor, and do not talk to anybody about finances that is not making money. Number 4, make sure you are a giver. Now, these last 2 I saved to last because you want to make sure you are a giver. I think a higher source, I believe in God, just so you guys know. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but I believe that He wants to give me more because He knows I'll do more. Okay? And you might have to just really wear this. I deserve it. Bottom line, I deserve it. You deserve it. Okay? And you might just deserve it because you're alive, right? You're a good person because I'm a giver, because you're a giver. Now, here's some good advice. Give 10% of your earnings away. And I know a lot of you are like, I don't have 10% to give away. If I do, I won't know how to eat. Now, please read The Richest Man in Babylon. You should give 10% away. And what you do that when you go, I'm going to give 10% away, even if I hardly have any, you're basically to something good. You're giving 10% away to something good that makes a difference. You're basically letting the universe know there's more where that came from. And I trust more will come. But I'm going to operate in a space of giving. And then give yourself 10%. Give to yourself. Start saving 10% of everything you earn. Once again, the mind will start to tell you, I don't have 10% to give back to myself. Yes, you do. Now, if the government took away 10% of it, you would figure out a way to make it work. So give yourself 10% and figure out a way to make it work. I'm here to tell you this makes a huge, huge difference. The universe starts to believe that you actually believe you deserve it and that you're a giver. It's all energy. So start doing this. All right? Number 5, start creating experiences that bring you with money that give you massive joy. Now, it needs to be massive joy. Now, if you're just hoarding your money, then it's not going to give you massive joy. Do something with your money that brings you joy. Have an experience that brings you massive joy. That's important to do every now and again. So that is my last piece of advice for you about money. Now, I hope this has been massively beneficial to you, and I know it has. I know if you did the work and you actually wrote it out and you start to read your affirmations, you start to proclaim your affirmations, you start to read those stories where you're rewriting that subconscious programming from a child and making it light and ridiculing it and laughing about it and just changing it, you are going to start to see a difference in your life. Now you just have to release and trust, but you have to do those daily pieces of work, being an attitude of gratitude, knowing that you're a giver, proclaiming your affirmations, reading, getting a mentor, getting a role model, excusing yourself from the table if anyone wants to talk bad about money or how there's a lack of it. Believe in yourself. Know that you are worthy, that you are more than worthy, that you are destined for this. You're destined to have it all, and it's okay to have it all. You'll still be a good person. You'll just have more to give. Please leave your comments below. Let me know how this resonated for you. Let me know what you would like to hear more of. Relationship, body. So please leave your comments below, and I will be sure to read them. Sending all my love. Bye, you guys.